The Angelito Talk Show, Episode 3.
Last Thursday, the Kansas City Chiefs lost 21-20 against the Detroit Lions in a game which saw the Detroit Lions step it up in the fourth quarter, which saw a lot of miscues from Patrick Mahomes, a lot of miscues from his wide receiver. And the Detroit Lions at the end of the day have shown through week one that they are our team to watch out for as a dark horse in the NFC. But there is one individual I want to look straight at the camera and address at the moment. Kadarius Toney, I don't want to hear nothing from you. You have been bashing Giants fans on Twitter. You've been talking a lot of smack about us. You cannot say anything to us at the moment. You had 3 drops in a very crucial game for Mahomes to win without his weapon, Travis Kelce. 3 drops, one of which was in the fourth quarter where if you caught that ball was a first down, and another that led to a pick six when the ball was thrown perfectly to Mahomes in your hands. You let it slip out like you've had butter on your hands, like butter fingers. Kadarius Toney, check yourself before you check on us. Because obviously you are too focused on the wrong thing right now. You should be worried about your reputation. You should be worried about your roster spot at the moment. You caught a touchdown in the Super Bowl. Whoop-de-doo. But week one proved that you are a mediocre quarterback still. No wide receiver that is in the elite of the elite drops 3 passes like that. But now that you're in Kansas City with Patrick Mahomes and you're worried about us, handle your business and stop whining like a little baby. Stay in your lane. Patrick Mahomes had a relatively pedestrian game. 21 of 39, 226 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Not the greatest game from Patrick Mahomes, but you had to work with a guy like Kadarius Toney. Isaiah Pacheco did all he could. He did all he could, but at the end of the day, the Detroit Lions were better on the night. The Kansas City Chiefs offense was not as electric as we have been used to be seeing for many years. Detroit Lions showed up. Give them credit where credit is due. I don't want to hear anything about, that Travis Kelce wasn't there. Chris Jones wasn't there. Give them credit where credit is due. It's the NFL. Injuries are going to happen. Contractual negotiations are going to happen, which forbid players from stepping on the field because they're not in contract. Give the Lions their credit. They're not going to be an easy team to beat, and I have them going to the wild card this season. Book it right now. Clip it. Chris Jones will be available for week 2, God hoping, because he has just signed a 1-year, $25 million deal to stay with the Kansas City Chiefs after weeks of speculation that he may not even re-sign. He is back with the Kansas City Chiefs. He will play defense again with the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, with Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes not being able to share the field together, that is a bit worrisome. Because as I mentioned before, Mahomes has no weapons. And one thing that made his Super Bowl run special, he had Travis Kelce on the field, decent receiver in Juju Smith-Schuster, who doesn't drop passes. But if he doesn't have at least one of those factors, the Chiefs will not make it far in the playoffs. I do not know what to say about the Giants right now. I am absolutely devastated because we just suffered one of the hardest L's I have ever had to deal with in my life as a Giants fan. Stepping back to 2008, the Giants lost 40-0 against our NFC rival, the Dallas Cowgirls. Team that features Micah Parsons, Stephon Gilmore, Van Der Esch, Dak Prescott, many others. We had to deal with a defense that held the Giants offense to 0 points. Let me read you guys the stats of this Dallas Cowboys defensive display. 7 sacks, 2 interceptions, 1 blocked field goal, 5 forced fumbles. For many people who want to say Daniel Jones is trash, who Daniel Jones is overpaid, let me allow for these eyeballs to look straight at the camera right now. Do you guys not watch football at all? Are you unaware that a quarterback needs a good offensive line in order to succeed in the NFL? Are you unaware that a quarterback needs time for routes to progress down the field? A quarterback needs time to see if his receivers are open for a pass in the first place. A quarterback needs time to determine whether to scramble or to throw the football. But on Sunday night, he was not afforded that opportunity because people like Evan Neal could not even block to save his life. Daniel Jones was sacked 7 times. And you guys say he's overpaid? You guys say that he sucks? In my opinion, the offensive line is the most crucial part of an NFL offense. You can have the greatest wide receiver of all time. You can have the greatest quarterback of all time. You can have the greatest running back of all time. But if you don't have an offensive line that allows the quarterback to process the progression of routes, to see the field and see if the wide receivers are open in the first place, that NFL team will not make the playoffs. And the New York Giants, with that offensive line right now, will not make the playoffs. Joe Shane, Brian Daboll, the pressure is on now. You set the standard. We made the playoffs last season. We beat the Minnesota Vikings in the wild card game. You have to make it to the playoffs again. You built this great roster, great defense, traded for Isaiah Simmons, traded for Darren Waller, drafted Jalen Hyatt, re-signed Dexter Lawrence, re-signed Andrew Thomas, re-signed Saquon Barkley, re-signed Daniel Jones. You have to make the playoffs because the team of last year is inferior to the team of this year. And if you don't make the playoffs this year, what does that say about Brian Daboll and Joe Shane as a duo? I put them on the hot seat right now, and it's only week 1. Why? Because as a New York sports fan, I can speak for many New Yorkers. We don't tolerate mediocrity. Only thing we accept here is success. You better win against the Arizona Cardinals. Albeit they have Budda Baker, James Conner, Hollywood Brown, Zach Ertz. You better beat the Arizona Cardinals next week. That offensive line, you better step up. Evan Neal, I'm looking at you right now. You better step it up. We drafted you that high for a reason. You better step it up, or else your ass is getting kicked to the streets. NFL Game of the Week. Shout out to the man who suggested it. Alex, appreciate you, my boy. I'm open to any suggestions in the comment section down below, as you guys are the driving force of this talk show. You could have went with the Chargers and the Dolphins. Tyreek Hill and Tua Tagovailoa looked like Randy Moss and Tom Brady. Unstoppable duo. But the one game that stood out for me, the Jets and the Bills. 22-16 victory for the New York Jets. Xavier Gibson, 66-yard return to clinch the victory for the New York Jets. Jets fans excited in MetLife. The game is played on 9/11, which means it means a lot for us New Yorkers. But then, in the midst of all that hype, of all the happiness that brought upon that game, the man who was supposed to carry the New York Jets to the Super Bowl, hopefully, Aaron Rodgers, on his first drive of the game, sustained at the time an ankle injury. He was carted off the field in the first quarter, and many fans in the arena held their breath as they saw their hope of going to Super Bowl flash before their eyes and go into that locker room. Robert Saleh comes out an hour after the game and says that Aaron Rodgers may have an Achilles injury and is not looking good. Then the day after that, it's declared by many media sources that Aaron Rodgers has a torn Achilles and he will not be back with the New York Jets, which leaves Zach Wilson as the only quarterback eligible to become the starting quarterback. To New York Jets fans everywhere, I cannot begin to feel the sadness you guys were experiencing on Monday. It honestly hurt me, not even as a Giants fan, as a New York football fan, to see a quarterback of Aaron Rodgers' quality get injured on his first drive. I couldn't even imagine what he could have done with you guys this season. With Garrett Wilson, an up-and-coming wide receiver in the NFL, an up-and-coming defense. It really sucks to see Aaron Rodgers get hurt like that. A torn Achilles, as he is turning 40 years old soon. Will he even be able to be the same quarterback as he once was after the torn Achilles? Most athletes are not the same after an Achilles injury. To Aaron Rodgers, I wish you nothing but the best. I wish you a speedy recovery. And I hope we're able to see you back on that green turf at MetLife Stadium in a Jets uniform.